Laipply podcast.
It's a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth, but anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah, I do.
Why is that?
Because he's the President of the United States and he does not honor the Constitution of the United States. In fact, he's turned the Supreme Court into a rogue court. He's abolished the House of Representatives. He's chilled. It's just a
First, I'd like to ask you about breaking news from the Attorney General. She revealed just about an hour ago that the Biden Justice Department seized President Trump's official first-term phone and subpoenaed his private phone records. Do you have a reaction to that? And also, do we know if they actually got those private call records?
I saw the Attorney General's post on that. For additional questions, I would refer you to the Department of Justice, but I think this is just further evidence of the egregious overreach and weaponization of government that took place under the previous White House against then former President and now President Donald J. Trump. It was a clear effort by the Biden White House and the Biden DOJ to go after the president, and this is just further evidence of that. Call on your Democrat senators and tell them to side with President Trump and Republicans to vote to reopen the government. Our nation's four largest airlines, United, Delta, American, and Southwest, have now all endorsed the Republican, nonpartisan, clean funding bill to end the government shutdown. Major unions, collectively representing tens of thousands of pilots, have also joined the airlines in calling on Democrats to pass the clean, nonpartisan CR. The travel industry is also imploring Democrats to end the shutdown and reopen the government. Nearly 500 companies and groups in the travel business, including casinos, hotels, and convention bureaus, signed a public letter warning that America's travel economy has already lost $4 billion due to this Democrat shutdown, and they have called for the Republican CR to be passed, saying Americans expect and deserve a fully functioning federal government during the peak holiday travel season. Never before have we seen private industry and union leadership so unified on the same issue, rallying behind Republicans in such a vocal way. The Democrats have completely lost the plot. I'm optimistic that the Supreme Court is going to do the right thing. The importance of this case cannot be overstated. The president must have the emergency authority to utilize tariffs. Look at what President Trump has been able to do with the leverage and the power of tariffs. He's been able to sign peace deals all over the world and end global conflicts and literally save lives. He's been able to bring in trillions of dollars of investments into our country. In fact, this year alone, we are going to cut the deficit by $600 billion, namely because of the president's effective use of tariffs. And the president strongly believes that economic security is a matter of national security, and tariffs have a lot to do with that. And this case is not just about President Trump. It's about the use of this emergency authorization for tariffs for future presidents and administrations to come, and we're confident and hopeful that the Supreme Court will do the right thing.
Venezuela, if I was going to do it or if I wasn't going to do it.
Why do we need an aircraft carrier and strike group?
It's got to be somewhere.
Okay.
It's a big one.
I hope if they have any services for Dick Cheney, the one thing they do at the Hearst is drive it by Arlington National Cemetery, past Section 60, where the honored dead of the global war on terror on Iraq and Afghanistan are buried. The honored dead of those wars. Let him face them one last time. That's why he hated Trump, and they hated Trump with a burning passion. Look at that ad. What could be more vicious? What could be more vicious? And now we know she crawled on her belly to get a pardon that's not in effect. Think about that for a second. Think of how deeply, deeply rooted the evil in this country is. It's going to take you to dig it out. President Trump has got the weight of the world on his shoulders. What are you going to do? You want to thwart the Cheneys? You want to thwart the apparatus, the globalist, the uniparty that has helped destroy this country? Perfect example.
You're blaming the Republicans for the shutdown, but in point of fact, it's the Democrats in the Senate who are refusing to vote for the clean continuing resolution to fund the government for 7 weeks. I mean, that just as a point of fact, the way that we have always covered shutdowns is that the party that is not voting for the CR, the continuing resolution to fund the government, is the party that is blocking the government funding and is responsible for the shutdown. That's how we did it the last time in 2018, 2019. That's the time we did before that during the Obama administration. I mean, it's your party that is refusing in the Senate that is refusing to vote for the continuing resolution.
The entire reason the government is not open right now is because Democrats refuse to be complicit in having millions of Americans, including 100,000 in Kentucky, your home state, if I'm remembering correctly, Scott, that rely on ACA, that would see their premiums rise several
which you can deal with separately. It doesn't have to be, those two things do not go together.
But the way that they're doing this right now, they're combining both.
Voting to support the budget still doesn't, if you keeping it closed doesn't fix the ACA. The ACA needs to be reformed. Healthcare needs to be reformed. This is a way bigger question.
You guys failed at that last time. The whole thing was repeal and replace. You had a trifecta. You tried this. You failed.
That's not true. They're still in the concept of a plan stage.
No, in terms of
they've been in the concept stage since 2000.
But David, you would admit that the ACA was a Democrat legislation, yes? And you would admit that the subsidies that we're talking about now were passed by Democrats, yes. And you would admit that the sunset provision in the subsidies, which comes up at the end of the year, was in place because of Democrats, yes. Now you want to make it a Republican problem. These are not the same issues. You could open the government today, and then you could negotiate with with Republicans about ACA. And by the way, my suspicion is, and you know this, there are probably, and I know there are some House Republicans that would love to negotiate on it, but under duress, under a hostage-taking situation, connecting disconnected issues, and now you're throwing SNAP onto it, you're throwing all the federal workers who aren't being paid onto it, all because of this fight that you wandered into because of your wing of the Democratic Party. You all led to this SNAP crisis. You all led to this crisis of the government being closed, and you don't know how to get out of it.
Well, guess what? 9 months later, people are still talking about groceries. They're still talking about gas.
They're not talking about gas. Gas is at a 4-year low.
It depends on what part of the country you're in. But they're talking about...
It's really high, but everywhere else...
But they're also talking about eggs. They're talking about the cost. Eggs are not low.
Eggs are low.
Have you been to a grocery store around here?
His Rolex probably.
I mean, eggs are not low.
I'm going to fact check you after the show, and you're going to be surprised.
$8.99 for eggs is not low. But what I'm saying is...
We put the calves, we put them on the plane and send them back from whatever they came from. It's simple as that.
So
and all these papers.
Would you say that British lawyers and politicians who say it's impossible are not telling the truth?
Well, they do not know how to deal with the real problem. This is not a paper. This is not a film. This is not a movie. This is a real situation. And all these excuses, all these lawyers, I'm a lawyer too. I'm doing my PhD on human rights as well. I know what we can do and how we have to react as politicians who are responsible for our families, for our citizens. This is not a theory. This is a time for people who can act, not debating. We are debating since 2015, as I said, when Germany started this minute. It's time to act. So what I would say to your political elites or to the people, I would say, send them back. Do not read anything. Send them back. Protect yourself, because it's not about your fancy way of living. It's about protection. It's about surviving. It's not a joke. So many people are killed, raped, stabbed. How long can you wait? How many must suffer? How many must lose their lives until someone will take action? Now people are taking action. People are taking on the streets. I'm a proud European, proud Christian. I want Europe to be a Europe, not an Asia, Africa, or any other continent. I want Europe to be Europe. I was born here. I love this place. I love Europeans. I want to be European. I don't want to lose my identity. So if you love your country and if you are experienced throughout generations with such a horrible things, you do not want hijrah, jihadists. You do not want any of those. You do not want terrorists. You do not want people who wants to change your legal system to Sharia. You do not want people who wants to change your culture. You do not want people to take who you are. And we are proud Europeans.
And lastly, do you think Britain can get there? Do you think we can turn this around?
Yes. Yes, you can. But first of all, you have to take action. You have to stop discussing. You have to stop sitting on your beautiful couch. You have to take action. Take on the streets. Be peaceful. Go and vote. Decide about your future. It's time. It's time to decide. It's time to fight. And your weapon is your voice.
Today is election day in New York City. Did you vote for Armani or Cuomo?
Look, I voted, and I look forward to working with the next mayor to help New York City.
Leadership.
All right, Tuesday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me say hey to everybody in the chat tonight. Sparky, 8142 is on. Peg McGroin is on. Richard Perry, 49 is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Jules, 21 Hours is on. Mobetta 01 is on. Scooter Magruder is on. Robin Aroni's on. Mr. Cool Dude is on. Adam Lombard is on. Mike Griffith is on. Bagel Boy is on. Gloyd Shaw is on. Supergirl 21 is on. Wait Away is on. K4, VMS is on. Aggravain is on. Let me see here. Granite 2468 is on. Let me see. Hugo Stiglitz is on. Mobetta 01 is on. Leon Fish Puppy is on. Veronica 18201 is on. Adam Lombard is on. Arcadia Angel is on. Clean Sanchez is on. JGCK is on. Joe Arnott is on. Let me see here. Malamute Lover is on. Let me see. Scrolling down. The great T1AU is on. LA 106 Times is on. Sexy Pony is on. Drumming for Jesus is on. N Johns 127 is on. Scrolling down here. Let me see. My Broken Heart is on. Milwaukee James is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Paula America is on. Motorcycle is on. Sheila K is on. If I didn't say it already, Milwaukee James is on. Let me see here. Let me grab a couple more. Man 26 is on. Ian Mark is on. Let me see here. One or two. Hefner is on. Les Cruz Brown is on. Let me grab two more. Let me see what I got here. Big Jim Go Blue is on. One more. Let me see here. There we go. Conservative Waffle is on. Patriot of the North is on. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. So really today was an electoral, I guess you could call it a bad day for us, but really you have the elections in Virginia. You've got the elections in Jersey, some other elections going on. So let's focus on the New Jersey, the New Jersey election, Virginia elections. We lost both of those gubernatorial races, according to what Twitter's putting out anyway. But everyone just needs to remember Trump lost both those states. So, I mean, if you were really... Now, of course, we already had Glenn Youngkin's. Was Winston Sears was running. That was his lieutenant governor. We had Glenn Youngkin. He only run... I didn't even know this. Because Virginia's a Commonwealth, I had no idea. They have their own rules. You can't run for two governorships in a row. Glenn Youngkin can run again next in 4 years. But you can only run for one term in a row. I guess that's to do with being a Commonwealth or whatever. I had no idea because I'm always like, why did Glenn Youngkin, is he not running? Well, he can't. So anyway, it appears Winston Sears has lost. Abigail Spanberger has won. But anyway, Mickey Sherrill has won over Citarelli in Jersey. But again, both of those states weren't overly close in the last election. But it's still, we lost one gubernatorial seat because Glenn Youngkin's been a very good, very conservative governor in Virginia, and now they have a legitimate whack job. But here's my thing. I just follow what the Bible says. The Bible says, is actually Jesus speaking, Matthew chapter 10, 13 through 15. Whoever will not receive you, nor hear you, if a household is, I'll start from the beginning. If a household is worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it's not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whoever will not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart from that house or city, shake off the dust from your feet. It'll be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So, I mean, here's my thing. That's what they want. They want a baby-killing nut job leftist. The biggest problem in America are leftard white women. That is the biggest problem in America, and that's what they got. So enjoy it, Virginia, as your economy is about to plummet. And I know there's a lot of Republicans there that are going to have to suffer with this. But it's gonna. I mean, you're about to plummet because you're gonna go in the opposite of direction that a lot of America is going. Where we're jettisoning, getting rid of the DEI, getting rid of the CRT, getting rid of the ESG, getting rid of all of that stuff, and you're gonna go ahead and embrace it with this absolute leftist nut job who wouldn't even distance herself from the man who's running, I mean, John, whatever it is, the guy that's running for AG in Virginia that said he wanted to kill his opponent's children and watch them die in the mother's lap. She wouldn't even distance herself from that person, so wouldn't denounce him. So, I mean, that's just what you get. So, but again, the weird thing is you're like, well, Tom, did we really lose these elections? Just so everybody knows, I'm with Alex Jones on this. I don't think we lose any elections. I honestly don't believe that we lose any elections. I mean, of course, that's slightly hyperbolic because maybe in some extreme leftist sort of homosexual gay villages, we might lose a township, some sort of, Chamber of Commerce, city council election in like Gayville, Vermont. But other than that, we're not losing anything. And we didn't really lose in Jersey. You could go around Jersey. Everyone was voting for Citarelli, but you got to get through Newark. You have to get through the election corruption, and it all happened again today. So let's just go over it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm not going to weep over it because, again, I didn't expect to win either of these races. And I'll just be honest with you, like Winsome Sears is a wonderful human being, but is not a good candidate. Citarelli's a good candidate in Jersey, but Winsome Sears is not. It's just, you have to have... what they needed to do was run. She didn't completely embrace Trump. If you want to win, you got to have Trump go there. And people are like, well, yeah, but that can also actually cost you. 80% of the time, more than that actually, the Trump endorsed candidate wins. You go with those odds, but people don't do it. But you know why she didn't probably? Well, it's because Glenn Youngkin didn't, and he defied the odds. He was part of the 20%. He actually distanced himself from Trump. And it won. And I'm not saying that won for him, but he won even after doing that, what basically nobody else does. So out of the 15, 20% maybe that do that, they might win. Really, it's less than that. But she probably followed the same thing and never had any energy. Just imagine if Vance was there campaigning for it. Did you notice that he wasn't? Imagine if Trump slipped down to Virginia and campaigned for Winsome Sears against Spanberger. I mean, Spanberger is a horrible candidate, but she's a Democrat, so she's got the corruption and the money on her side. We're always accused of being the party that cuts taxes for the rich. We don't have any rich people. The only rich people are supporting the Democrats. That's the way that's really where that. I mean, again, we pseudo have Elon Musk, but other than that, we have nothing. But anyway, so these people, Citarelli appeared to be somewhat Trumpist, but I don't think they've reached out the way they need to. It's just like, as pathetic as simp Ted Cruz is. When Ted Cruz was losing to Beto O'Rourke, you know how bad you have to be to lose to Beta O'Rourke, but any beta male O'Rourke. He reached out to Trump and said, I got to have you come down here and I need your endorsement. And Trump went down. Trump went and campaigned for the guy. So, that's what these people need to do. I don't know why they don't. I would. But anyway, so we lost both these gubernatorial elections. It is what it is. But again, there was a lot of, let's just call them election irregularities with the machines breaking down, bomb threats, machines breaking down in only Republican areas, machines breaking down in only Republican areas, independent voters unable to vote because somehow they don't show up in the computer, only in Republican areas. So, this happens. But don't worry, Aaron. They're going to get it fixed next time.
Oh, okay.
For the next election, this is what we've heard out of Arizona. It's what we've heard out of many other areas. Don't worry, we'll get it next time. That's what we always hear. Is because if you ever try to be a precinct committeeman or a precinct captain, try it sometime. Try to be a precinct committeeman or a precinct captain. And you're like, well, isn't that all Republican? Yeah, that would be Republican because in every precinct you have a Democratic precinct and you have a Republican precinct. They both have their own separate areas, so they represent the interest of each party. Try to become one as a MAGA person, a committeeman or a precinct captain. Some have broken through. This was urged on for many years by Steve Bannon, which was one of the main reasons why Trump won in 2024. He won in 2022, but that election was stolen. But anyway, and you have to not be afraid to say that, which people still are, but I digress for just a second. But try that because you won't get in. Because the people that are running them are establishment Republicans. Now, we just need to understand that establishment Republicans on election day vote Democrat. The people that are running Republican precincts in these states are voting Democrat. We all know that it's true. Dick Cheney died yesterday. So does anybody honestly believe that Dick Cheney would ever vote for Donald Trump? I know he didn't. He endorsed Kamala in 2024. But I mean, come on, he never voted for Trump. And probably never voted for a conservative his entire life. And again, people like conservative, what do you mean by conservative? I mean real conservative. I don't mean anybody with a Bush in front of as their last name, or a Romney, or a Cheney, or a McCain, or those people are not remotely conservative. And again, I just put this out there because I want everybody to understand this. It's all a rigged system. It is all a mirage. When you, like, did anybody watch Marjorie Taylor Greene today on The View? Okay, horrible. I have no idea what she was doing. She reminded me of these beta male, lukewarm, watered down, skinny jeans, latte sucking pastors who will never say anything to offend anybody watching their sermons. That's what she sounded like on The View. I believe you know that both sides have lied. Really, Marjorie, where's that exactly? Just tried to be neutral. And I mean, it was just a pathetic performance. And this is what happens to people. And by the way, she came into Congress worth $700,000. Hey, Aaron, you have any idea what she's worth now?
No.
$22 million.
Oh.
How does that work?
Convenient.
Can somebody explain that to me? Through very, very excellent stock investments. So eventually what happens is you end up with the 1 Timothy 6:10 quandary of the love of money is the root of all evil. But man, it's hard to walk away from that kind of life. You know, I mean, that's the reason why people don't. The love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. It was in the clips that I saw, it was you could barely distinguish what her political views were. I mean, I just don't understand people. I honestly don't. I guess that people will just go ahead and whore themselves for money. But I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that maybe she just had a bad day. I don't know. But I can promise you that would not be what I would say if I was on The View. I would forsake all advantages of going on The View to speak the truth. I would forsake all, listen, I am banned everywhere. You're like, Tom, how can you really be banned? You got 570 people that are watching. Just so you know, about 6-7 months ago, before Rumble changed its algorithm for some unknown reason, we had 1,200 people watching. That's been cut in half. And I'm not saying Rumble did anything malicious to us, but it just the way that the system works. When you're playing on somebody else's field, I guess. But anyway, just banned everywhere. Now, if I were to prostrate myself like Ben Shapiro and bend him over and just spread it wide and make sure that I mute out all the right words and, you know, don't say certain things. And instead of saying sexual assault, I say SA. Or instead of saying firearm or gun, I go pew pew. I refuse to die on my knees like that. Just ban me into non-existence. I don't care. You're like, Tom, come on, you'd be miserable if you weren't in front of a microphone every day of your life. You just don't know me. Ask Aaron. Aaron knows me. Yeah. Okay, that's not the case. Aaron just simply asked me where I'm moving. Yeah. So he'll move next door. I'm just saying that's the whole thing. But no, I mean, I just don't understand. You go on The View. It's you know what? It's time to go to war. It's not time. Listen, do not yoke yourself together with unbelievers. What do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or with fellowship can light have with darkness? 2 Corinthians 6:14. You're not going to come to some sort. It's blessed are the peacemakers, not the peacekeepers, out of Matthew chapter 5. It's not you. You don't go in there and sign some sort of peace treaty. Well, I'm just going to blame both sides in this sort of amalgamous sort of enigma, ambiguity. It's just both sides just cause all of these problems. Bull crap. It's the women on The View that cause all the problems. Women like that cause all the problems. And men, it's the left. It's globalist left. $38 trillion in debt. It's them. And the coward Republicans, and that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared to be on The View today, that go along with them because they're so scared to death that they're going to be called names in the the Washington Post, the paper of record, where democracy dies in the darkness. I mean, yes, everyone needs to understand that everything that we see is a mirage put on by the spirit of the world. It really is that way. Right out of Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. The spirit that now worketh in the sons of disobedience, the prince of the power of the air. It's all a mirage. So you think that people are there fighting for you, and they get elected over and over and over again because most people are too busy to actually find out how these people vote, or they just are too lazy to find out how these people vote because they run as a conservative and they legislate as a leftist. You know, on paper, like Mike Johnson's this great guy, gives a lot to charity, doesn't appear to be rigging the system in his favor, but he votes with Democrats all the time. John Thune votes with Democrats all the time. John Cornyn votes with Democrats all the time. I mean, again, it just, you have to take a stand. Otherwise, you know what? It's over. You're going to have to take a stand. You have to be willing, like me, to have no platform. Listen, you need to understand something. I know I've talked about this before, but our second podcast we ever had, we only podcasted one night a week. The second one we ever had, we had 900 live viewers on Facebook alone. Oh. Then we would have 30,000 views before we left the studio with 1,000 views an hour. That's how big we were getting. And then we're banned into oblivion. We were on the verge of being millionaires. I mean, literally thousands. I mean, we would have been Bongino, whatever. And we were banned into oblivion. Why? Because I refuse. I will not take money to sacrifice the truth. The church could be way bigger. Like, Tom, you have a big church. Yeah, it's a big church. 1,000 people come here every Sunday. But you know what? It'd be 2,000, 3,000, because our worship team's so good that, you know what? It would be 2,000, 3,000 people if I didn't come in and ruin it every Sunday. But I come in there, listen, one of my next sermons is going to be the anatomy of the American backslide. Where's that preached? And then I've got a lot of sermons like I've kind of pre-written. Another one is people to avoid. So the worship team's up there just banging for an hour, and it's beautiful, and we get all kinds of compliments about it, and then I come up and ruin it. Because here's the thing, I'm not going to sacrifice the truth on the altar of pleasing people. And Marjorie Taylor Greene today, that was a pathetic, disgusting, repulsive, bent over, whorish display. Terrible. When you should have gone out there and ripped those people. Well, and then the little simps in the comments. Tom, weren't we talking about elections? Yeah, I don't give a crap. I really don't want to cover the frickin' things. The simps in the comments. Yeah, this is the only way to get things done is to have a conversation. You can't conversate with the devil. Joy Behar is a baby butchering, penis lopping off, breast lopping off, testicle lopping off, lying, disgusting demon. You're not gonna. There's no discussion to have. What you need to have the people you need to have discussions with are the winnable. Yeah. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. That's Jesus talking in Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. I mean, there's no measure of agreement. What you do, and right, I already quoted 2 Corinthians 6:14. Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. Well, what's 3 verses down from that? 2 Corinthians 6:17. Come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord. Does that sound like we're supposed to be signing peace accords? I have no interest in coming to any measure of understanding with a penis lopper offer. I have no interest in coming to an understanding with a person who slaughters the unborn up to the moment of death, up to the moment of birth, and then still wants to slaughter them 28 days after they're born. There's no agreement for me to have with them. What fellowship does light have with darkness? What does good have in common with evil? Nothing. If I come to a compromise with them, that means I'm compromised and that I have let go of a measure of truth. I'm not going to do that. I'm out. So let them ban me in oblivion. What everybody needs to do for me, by the way, because our numbers are getting a little discouraging, is go on Twitter, make an account on Twitter, even if you never post anything, Twitter, X, Elon, so you're up in Elon, go on Twitter, get an account, and put our stuff out. It doesn't matter. If you have no followers, it's fine. Put our stuff out. You can't really share really on Rumble, but you can share on X. And if you like this podcast, you love the podcast, you love the mixture of biblical truth and politics, where our hope is not in the Republican Party, our hope is in the resurrected Christ, then I need you to go on Twitter. I'm losing viewers as I'm speaking. Right now, just lost 20 people watching. Because people don't ever want to take action. They just want to be entertained. They just want to be entertained. It's a sad day. I'm not talking to the root watchers of this podcast. But anyway, see, this is what I do at the church too. 30 people walk out. That's how it is. But anyway, this is the way it goes. But anyway, that's what I need you to do is get an account on Twitter. Get on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, and share our content to as many people as you possibly can. All right, on to the election. MAGA Voice video. Scott Pressler on the ground. Play for me.
You may know Chester County dropped the ball today, and only Republicans and Democrat voters were printed in the poll books. 75,000 independent voters were not included in the poll books. And when independent voters showed up today across Chester County, this wasn't at one polling location, this was county-wide across all of Chester. 75,000 independent voices. And so they had to vote provisionally, which of course irritated a lot of voters, caused a lot of confusion, and in fact, some people in polling locations ran out of envelopes, ran out of stickers where the ballots go into them. And so we've heard from voters that were disenfranchised, that showed up, but either were turned away or said to come back later. And so I'm here at this location at the Penn Township building, which is 260 Lewis Road in West Grove, Pennsylvania, Chester County. And I wanted to let people know, no, we are on this, legal is on this, and finally they have the materials. It took until after 2 o'clock, around 3 o'clock to get them, but finally voters have everything they need. So here we are now with about 2.5 hours left to go. If you were disenfranchised in Chester County, I want you to visit your polling location right now and get in line before 8 o'clock. And I promise you, as I am standing here right now, I drove several hours just to be here fighting for your election integrity, fighting for your right to vote and make your voice heard, that we are going to make sure that every vote is properly secured and legally and lawfully voted. Chester County, vote, and if you're one of the other 66 counties in the Commonwealth, go vote, and you have until 8 p.m. to get in line, and then you stay in line until every single gosh darn vote is counted. Thank you.
See, again, and you can side by side that. Again, I just want to say this. Okay, I know that we just got past Halloween, the Headless Horseman, Ichabod Crane. Okay, but come on. I mean, can we please actually shoot video properly as right-wingers and not cut the head off of the person? That's not us, by the way. That was the video that was uploaded onto Twitter. So, I mean, can we please not cut the head off? Maybe it's some sort of compatibility thing where this was a TikTok video and the head got cut off on Twitter. I have no idea. It wasn't cut off when I was watching it, so it's some sort of compatibility thing. But anyway, make the videos better, would you? But anyway, once again, it's always so funny because every single malfunction only negatively impacts Republican voters every single time. And who is in control of that? Republican precincts, folks. Just so you know, it's not the Democrats. Yes, the Democrats are doing the evil, but the people who are allowing the evil are the Republicans who are in charge of that precinct. You're telling me that that precinct didn't have any idea that their ballots or their registrations didn't include independent ballot voters? So they got up there and they said, because you can register as an independent, but you get up there and we have no record of your voter registration. You telling me that the Republican precinct had no idea this was going on? No, they're actually Democrats. We don't do that. Again, you've heard this a myriad of times on this podcast. We don't infiltrate their ranks. They infiltrate our ranks. Most Republicans in leadership positions are Democrats. Actual voting, vote for Democrats. That's who they are. But absolutely zero Democrats are actually voting Republicans. They're not Republicans. They're all Democrats. It's a Bongino principle where he said basically most Republicans are actually Democrats, but not one Democrat is actually a Republican. It's just like the neutered, disgusting, bent over Joe Manchin, the former senator out of West Virginia, just a repulsive. And people are like, oh, he's a moderate. You know what? You know what God thinks of moderation? I know that works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth, Revelation 3:15 and 16. Something Marjorie needed to think of before she got onto The View today. That's what Manchin is. He just prostrates himself before Republicans and Democrats so that he can be elected. Imagine what and again, it's the same people that whore themselves to the rules on social media so they're never taken down. Well, then who will be the conservative voices if we're all taken down? Well, how are you a conservative voice when you're not allowed to be a conservative voice? I mean, I honestly, I don't get people. I honestly don't. So anyway, again, here you have this big malfunction that only applies and only impacts Republican voters. Go to the next one. Right Angle News Network's tweet breaking: voting machines are down across Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and red-leaning districts only in Cumberland County. And voters are being turned away after not appearing in rolls. That's Chester County, including a Chester County precinct where 800 residents reportedly cannot vote today. So they get their provisional ballots that will later be disqualified. And who runs it? Republicans do. You're like, no, if you had a legitimate Republican precinct committeeman, precinct captain, this crap wouldn't happen, but it happens over and over again because the Democrats are running our precincts. But they're registered Republicans. Yeah, Bush Republicans. George W. Bush has never voted for a Republican in his life. He's not a Republican. He's a globalist, leftist, bourgeois elitist who loves Davos. That's who these people are. It's all, again, we never infiltrate their ranks, and because we can't. You couldn't hide Aaron at a Democrat meeting. I mean, his essence, just his countenance would betray him. That's not a Democrat. They would know it. Even if he went in there with purple hair on and put we can't do it. I can't go sit in there. But they do with us. All right, so we lost these elections. It is what it is. It's corrupt listen, Donald J. Trump is trying to fix this, but you have Republicans like in Kansas today who decided, you know what, we're just not going to do the redistricting thing, which would have gained us a seat in Kansas. Why would that happen? Because he's not a Republican. I'll try to get that story for you, but the man's not a Republican. So they're redistricting all of California so they can get more seats out of California because Gavin Newsom's lost 3 or 4 since he's been the governor. He's lost it because of mass migration out of the state, even though he has mass migration into the state, but they're foreigners, illegals. The mass demigration out of the state going to Texas and Florida of real Americans. So now it's called Prop 50. They are redistricting the entire state of California, which is the most populous state in the union with around 40 million people living here. They're going to redistrict it and gain their seats back. But Kansas, the Republicans will do it. Why? Because they're not Republicans. What we need to be concerned about more than anything else is the corruption inside of our own ranks. It's illustrated in Scripture in Jude 3 and 4. For I felt compelled to write and urge you to contend for the faith that was once for all entrusted to God's holy people. For certain individuals whose condemnation was written about long ago have secretly slipped in among you. They are ungodly people who pervert the grace of God into a license for immorality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign and Lord. Those are the people. When you see Paul raging in Scripture, who's he raging against? Whether it's 1 Corinthians 5, 1 Corinthians 5:12, 5:3, who's he raging against? Not the unbeliever. It's the false prophets and the fake Christians. That and who did Jesus despise the most? Oh, Tom, don't you ever say that Jesus hated anyone. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him. So don't tell me what to say. You've never read the Bible. You have a false idea of who Jesus is. The man in John chapter 2, verse 15, who made a whip of cords. Jesus made a whip of cords. He didn't go buy a whip of cords. He sat and took the time to weave his own whip of cords before he drove out the money changers out of the temple. So, we as Christians are supposed to be hardcore, not soft and fluffy. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrows, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Hebrews 4:12. That's the kind of attitude we're supposed to have. And until we do, as believers, and we stop peddling this worthless, lukewarm, mushy, sin-filled grace, then what this country needs is not Donald Trump, although he's great and the greatest president of my lifetime. What this country needs is Jesus. And I hate to even use the word revival because revival is so falsely used. That term is so falsely used. And by the way, why would any Christian ever need to be revived? But again, I digress. That's the answer to this country. You want something to change, win souls. 2, legitimate, heaven or hell, turn or burn, hellfire, brimstone, repentance. Actually win souls to the Lord. Preach the word instantly, in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. You want to change the country? That's how you change the country. Not supporting the Republican Party. Yes, we have to vote Republican. Yes, I've always been a registered Republican. I'll probably always be a registered Republican. And I vote in every dadgum race there is. Local, state, county, everything. And I don't feel like doing it, but I always do it. But anyway, that's how, if you really want to turn things around, you got to not win them to the modern church. The modern church is sin-filled, accommodating grace, which is still just simply a demonic gospel, winning them to the devil. When you win somebody to a watered down, you can still sin gospel, you've just won them to the devil. That's all that you've done. Then now at least before they knew they were lost, now the lost think they're saved. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? In thy name done many, many wonderful works. And then will I say unto them, depart from me, ye worker of iniquity, for I never knew you. Weird, right? That's why Matthew 7:21 through 23 is actually in the Bible. Many will say to me in that day, have we not prophesied in thy name? In thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Amazing, right? Win them to a legitimate gospel, the only legitimate gospel, the Bible. Win them to that. All right, let's go into the Trump section of the show. The Telegraph video exclusive, the BBC, speaking of liars, the thing that God has the most disdain for, 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a man who stirs up dissension among brothers. How many lies are involved in the 6 things God hates and the 7 that are an abomination to him? 3 minimum. So what does God hate worse than anything? Oh, what the BBC just did. Exclusive, the BBC is accused of editing Trump's speech to make him seem to back the Capitol riot. Play for me.
The BBC claims to be the pinnacle of impartial reporting. But what if there was an internal dossier that revealed that wasn't the case? The Telegraph has seen a letter that reveals one of the BBC's own independent advisors repeatedly warned that the broadcaster had serious and systemic problems. A week before the US election, BBC Panorama released a documentary called Trump a second chance. And in it, they played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Now, it's true that a lot of people will still feel Trump's claims that in 2021 the election was stolen were entirely inappropriate and unbecoming of a figure in politics. But irrespective of your personal views on Trump, the question remains, how is a national broadcaster funded by taxpayers on the premise that it will provide impartial reporting allowed to splice together content in a way that one of its own advisors said materially misled viewers? But if members of its own editorial standards committee have no faith in the broadcaster, you have to ask, should we?
Yeah, Adam Lombard, you're right. 54 minutes apart. I'm reading what Adam says in the chat. 54 minutes apart. Now, here's the great thing. Trump knows this now. There's a couple people now that are lining up. You had the congressman that went on Scarborough claiming that Trump diddled kids with Epstein. He's finished. Trump's going to sue him into oblivion. And now the BBC. Now, I want to congratulate Aaron and Joe, myself, and everybody watching, because I can guarantee you USAID money has gone, billions have gone to the BBC.
Yeah.
Because USAID, I'm trying to remember, 300 million USAID money went to Reuters. And I'll bet you Reuters and BBC are joint owned or owned by basically the same company. I'll bet you that right now. So you and I paid for that. And all of the pain that's been inflicted on Donald Trump and all the J6 defendants. And again, with the J6 defendants, I always put this out there because when they show the video, there's some J6 people that did some incredibly stupid things, but they were, of course, wrongfully, horribly Banana Republic treated, okay? And most of them deserved absolutely no prison time whatsoever. The worst of the worst offenders, you're talking about maybe a year in. And that was maybe 6 or 7 people total, maybe a year inside. But people who are 3-4 years sentenced to 22 years for doing nothing, weren't even in the city. So I'm a big advocate for J6 offenders on the whole. There's some really dumb people that were there, though. You see broken glass and broken windows. Aaron, would you walk in?
Nope.
Okay, you don't walk in.
Walk away.
You just simply walk the other direction. Okay, if you see people breaking doors open, I know some were open and some people were screwed over. Believe me, most J6 offenders were completely and totally innocent. However, there were some really dumb people that crawled through broken windows and went and sat in Nancy Pelosi's office, okay? And even those people, you're talking about a max of a $500 notice to appear. That's really it. But again, I digress. But anyway, so the BBC, which I guarantee you is partially funded by you and I, not now because Trump's gotten rid of USAID, but at that time was funded by you and I, at least partially. Now, what needs to be calculated by Trump and his attorneys is how much pain was inflicted upon me as a result of this. Now, if you are to be held accountable, as the BBC says, you are to be held accountable. Remember now, the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, is taxpayer funded. Both them and us, though. Tom, why would we ever do that? Well, you can ask that about anything involved with the USAID. But anyway, this is the government. This is their government putting this out. The government puts out what the BBC puts out. So you have to ask yourself how much pain was inflicted, because the BBC says what they just advocated is that Trump, via his words, caused people to break the law. Now, Bernie Sanders was never even investigated for the Scalise shooting, even though the Scalise shooting was directly connected to what Bernie Sanders said about Republicans and their Medicaid reform, saying, quote, "This is going to kill people." And that is what the Scalise shooter said was his motivation, was Bernie Sanders' own words, but he was never held accountable. But for some reason, Trump is responsible for an insurrection that isn't an insurrection because not one person had a gun. And you certainly can't insurrect the United States Marine Corps without a single firearm. You can't insurrect. Well, there should have been 20,000 to 30,000 National Guard troops there, but those were turned down by the people trying to prevent an insurrection. But anyway, allegedly. But anyway, so Trump needs to calculate here. How much of it, because he's already suing, can't remember who he's suing for billions, but he's already suing somebody for billions. This is a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. Trump's only worth somewhere between, it's hard to tell, somewhere between $6 and $10 billion is what he's worth. So he needs to sue them for literally $30-40 billion for all that's been done to him as a result. Because now the BBC needs to live according to their own rules. That your words have caused Trump to be falsely prosecuted, persecuted, and prosecuted. Jack Smith prosecuting him for J6. All right, let's go to the next one. Cat turd tweet. Democrats voted today for the 14th time to keep the government closed. And yet, and then I love how he writes it. After the vote, they all hit social media saying, why are Republicans keeping the government closed? And now, Aaron's brilliant. He really is. Super smart guy, but he's black-pilled. So you have to kind of strain what he says. Okay, you have to he's black-pilled with red sprinkles. And I think the red sprinkles are starting to dissipate.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Aaron actually brought up a very valid point because let's go with the truth behind this entire shutdown. Which, first of all, the entire shutdown is, in fact, caused by Chuck Schumer. And here's my prediction. The shutdown ends somewhere tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. Now that the elections are passed. So that in my opinion, that's what will happen. That's not my prediction. That's from somebody else. And again, I would give credit, but I can't remember who to give credit to. Mark Wayne Mullins has predicted this. Senator Mark Wayne Mullins has predicted this, but that wasn't who I got it from originally. But anyway, this is true. They have caused the shutdown. But what were the Republicans trying to push? The CR. The CR, the continuing resolution of Biden's spending levels. You're like, well, some of it has been reallocated. Granted. It has been reallocated. It's been taken away. The 87,000 IRS agents, we're spending it on ICE. Those are good parts of the big, beautiful bill. Agreed. But we're still spending $6.8 trillion when we only bring in $4.8 trillion in tax revenue. So the continuing resolution still puts us at $2 trillion worth of debt and deficit spending. Now, here's the Aaron Black-pilled perspective. Is all of this put out, or is a side, but not necessarily all of it put out, because that sounds kind of QAnon, but is a side benefit of the shutdown making the $2.2 trillion, the continuing CR that adds $2 trillion to our debt? Does the shutdown make us all root for more debt because it's now more palatable? I don't like that, and I don't like that. I hope that's not anybody's motivation. But now you have us on the fiscal conservative side rooting for the continuing resolution.
Yeah.
Go CR. Go CR.
It's so true.
And it's gonna, by the time the CR, Aaron, if you can get the debt clock up, by the time the CR runs to fruition, see that 38? That's a 40. Yeah. Now, I know Trump has said that his tariffs are going to offset the spending. And he's done well, okay? But it won't. Not yet. He might. If there's anybody that can, it's Trump. He's secured somewhere between $17 and $20 trillion of financial investment into our economy, foreign and domestic investment into our economy. So credit to him on that. But this CR is certainly not good. It adds $2.2 trillion to that right there. My point right there, that 38 becomes a 40.
Yeah.
As conservatives, how is that conservative? So again, just think of things in almost 4D sort of chess. All right, go to the next one for me. Rapid response 47 tweet. DC, here's big time Trump success. DC crime, most of what Trump is doing is great. And I'm not going to get blackpilled. I won't allow myself. I'm rooting for Trump. I'm rooting for him. DC crime fighting task force boasts 60% decrease in murder. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
But 60% decrease since Trump put the National Guard. All he's really done, just so everybody knows, he just puts these National Guard troops in pairs It's different strategic points throughout the city, and crime has dropped 60%. Murder rates dropped 60%. Just having a couple of National Guard guys standing there with M16s. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, great job here.
Totally.
And Trump has the balls to do it because he certainly, I mean, now, where's Muriel Bowser and her lesbian giant black woman police chief? Nobody's complaining anymore. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Nobody's saying a word because it's successful. That's what you have to be willing to take the abuse. Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View wanted to be accepted. For do I now persuade men or God, or do I seek to please men? For if I still please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. The fear of man bringeth the snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. The first verse is Galatians 1:10. Second verse, Proverbs 29:25. I always want to give you that. So write those verses down, memorize them. Now let's look at this one. Great video, Avery Day video. This is, this hearkening back to why it is that you do not allow in Muslim, Tom, you sound Islamophobic, not fearful of all. I hate Islam. Don't hate Islamic people. I hate Islam. I hate Buddhism. I hate Satanism. You know what? They're all the same, by the way. So this is why you don't allow inbred, low IQ, goat diddling Pakistanis into your country by the hundreds of thousands. Denmark tracked 321 Palestinian men granted asylum in 1992. Play it for me.
Starting in 1992, the Danish government followed 321 Palestinian men that they let into their country over 30 years. Of those 320 men, 204 of them were convicted of a crime. That is 64%. 176 of those 321 men were on welfare. That is 55%. They followed the second generation, and of those 321 men, they had about 999 total children. Of those children, 337 of them were convicted of a crime. It's 34%. 132 served a prison sentence, and 372 of the second generation children, that's 37%, were on welfare. It is estimated that these 321 Palestinian men cost the taxpayers between $250 and $320 million. Per person, that is between $770,000 and $985,000 per man. Letting these men into our country and then paying for them to commit crimes is insanity. We are not compatible. They commit crimes at higher rates. They are on welfare at higher rates. They are a net negative to society.
These numbers, by the way, are not unique to Denmark. It's exactly the same and getting worse all around the globe. And if Kamala Harris was president right now, Joe was talking about it tonight. He's like, hey, you're finally going to get to your Islamic section. Now I'm not. But I thought I would.
We're not going to make it.
We're not going to make it. But anyway, you just look at these numbers. There's areas of our country, it's over. Unless we go in there and take away green cards, I don't know what you would call it, retract green cards, retract citizenships. I'm not talking about people born, I'm not talking about people, not birthright citizenship, but legally, give it to me, Aaron.
Legally?
Born in the United States. Not birthright citizenship, that's not legal. And actually extract all of these people, like Dearborn, Michigan, it's over.
Yep.
There's going to be one congressperson, one Islamic person elected after another. You're like, well, Tom, what's your big beef with Islamic people? They can't exist with the Constitution. They can't exist anywhere. It was a great video that we had, that we played on the podcast, where you just track Islamic people. They're not happy anywhere.
No.
Everywhere they go, they're not happy. And that's just the way that it is. Because they believe that that's their calling, is to not be happy, to constantly, quote unquote, pseudo-evangelize through hell. That's what they do. Evangelize people straight to hell via Sharia law and jihad. That's what they do. They come in and they lie to you. They accuse you of being Islamophobic. They embrace all of these politicians who fight on behalf of anti-Islamophobia and then turn on them. That's what they do. That's how it works. But you look at this. Look at the numbers here. Denmark tracked 321 Palestinian men granted asylum in 1992. 63% of them were convicted of a crime. Does that change? No, it's changed, all right. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. More of them are being convicted of crimes. Because this started back in 1992. That's a long time ago. 22% received a prison sentence. 55% on welfare. They had 999 kids. They had 1,000 children. She started off with 321 Palestinian low IQ goat diddling men, inbred men, and then you end up with 1,000 more. Ugh. You're like, Tom, you're mean. I'm just telling you that's just the truth. I mean, I remember Joe Rogan jumping all over Gavin McInnes saying that inbreeding wasn't true. No, they have set up institutions in Great Britain to deal with the inbreeding problem. They had no inbreeding problem until they brought in hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of inbred Pakistanis who not only are inbred, then they inbreed again. Because you have to continue the lineage of the number one name now, the number one chosen name to name babies in the UK is now what? Muhammad. Number one. It's not Peter. It's not James. It's not Joe. It's not Aaron. It's not Tom. It's Muhammad. And then, so then the 1,000 kids, and of those kids, 34% of them were convicted of crimes. 13% of them got prison sentences, and 37% received or were on welfare. Total cost to taxpayers, 1992 to 2025, was $319 million, $800,000 per guy.
Whoa.
And then you have all of the people that won these gubernatorial races today. You know, Abigail Spanberger, Mickey Sherrill from Virginia and New Jersey, all want this to continue. All want to inbreed, Freudian slip, all want to import these types of people. Yeah, I said these types of people. They choose to follow a false demonic god. I'm saying those types of people, yes. All right, the Storm Has Arrived video. Big developments today in the case against James Comey from John Solomon. Just the news. Play it for me.
All right, let's get down to some big bombshell news that just moved a couple of minutes ago over at justthenews.com. We've been following the story of James Comey. He's indicted for lying to Congress, saying he never authorized any of his staff to leak to the media. And late last week, as we told you, he played the victim card. I'm being maliciously prosecuted because Donald Trump hates me. Well, today, the Kash Patel FBI and the lead attorney prosecuting his case, Lindsay Halligan, well, they responded, and they responded with a lot of evidence. What did they respond with? James Comey's own emails and his own handwritten notes. And what do they show? They show that James Comey was clearly aware that his top aide was providing information anonymously to the news media. Not only was he aware of it, he wrote in a private email, "Good job, my friend," actually congratulating him when Dan Richman, one of his top lieutenants, told him what he had just done with the New York Times. Yes, just like the indictment said, the story is about Hillary Clinton's email, so it backs up the government's case that Comey was authorizing leaks through his staff to reporters concerning a Hillary Clinton case, just like they argued. But they went a little bit further. It turns out that when Kash Patel found those burn bags in that secret room where a whole bunch of FBI evidence was sitting, they found something special. Some handwritten notes by James Comey. What do those handwritten notes show? He appeared to be aware in September 2016 that of the U.S. intelligence intercept that Hillary Clinton had approved a plan to hang a fake Russian shingle on Donald Trump's house, campaign house. Now, that's important because the handwritten notes don't match with James Comey's testimony. James Comey told Congress, that doesn't sound familiar. I don't think I ever knew about that. He wrote about it in his hand notes. And finally, one will ask, well, why would James Comey do this? What was the motive? Today's emails that were just released in the court filing give us one other answer. He wrote to Dan Richman, his lieutenant, that he fully expected soon to be working for President-elect Hillary Clinton. That's right from the emails. So he was waiting to work for Hillary Clinton, and he thought that Hillary Clinton would be grateful for the way he did things in handling her email case. Uh-oh. That wasn't what the victim card I think James Comey was planning to play. But all of that emails, all of those letters, all those court filings, even the handwritten notes, We just posted them at justthenews.com. You can go check them out today. We'll have more of that breaking news all throughout the night.
So back to front, the virtuous victim, the VV, virtuous victim, James Comey, said, you know what, I'm looking forward to working for Hillary Clinton, and I think she'll appreciate how I handle this. I thought you were an impartial cop. Imagine if that was a local cop. I want everyone to understand this. From 25 years of law enforcement, I'm just looking at you guys in the chat. I read you guys while we're watching videos and stuff because I've already seen the videos. But anyway, as a local cop, if I was to do that, if I was to come out and say, I hope that politician appreciates how I handled their case because I'm going to be working for them soon, what would happen to me? As a local cop, now James Comey's making, I don't know, $300,000-$400,000 a year. Me as a local cop, making somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 a year. If I say that, I'm burned to the ground, baby. Career over, fired, on the front page of the local paper. Done. Tim, nothing. Then it also shows his personal handwritten notes that were strangely in this very odd sealed off room in burn bags. That's always a good sign, isn't it? That's almost like our favorite video from Ursula von der Leyen. Whenever you have somebody come out in that German sort of evil voice that always puts your heart at ease, you just know that things are really, really upfront, very transparent. Whenever you have a sequestered room with burn bags, right? And then James Comey is in there, and his own writings are in there, and he admits that he was congratulating another employee for the leaks that he said that he never did. Amazing, isn't it? Here we go. The virtuous victim, James Comey, lying again. Oh yeah, never forget. Cool shell formation on my beach walk, 8647, that he just found.
Of course.
He didn't do that himself. No. He just found it as he's walking along the beach. And of all the billions of miles of beaches worldwide, he happens to stumble upon the one person who is such a lowlife that somehow they put together a formation of rocks that go 8647 on the beach. Yeah, right. The virtuous victim. So he gets caught lying again. He lied under oath, saying that he never leaked information and never told anybody to leak information, and then is congratulating his FBI subordinate for leaking information in writing. These people aren't smart. I want to show you this Wall Street Map video. Here's the moment. I just want to show you who these people are because we're going to look at John McCain and Dickie Cheney. Wall Street Map video. Here's the moment John McCain betrayed America right when he voted. Remember now, we had 8 votes to get rid of Obamacare. Every single time before this one, John McCain voted to get rid of Obamacare. So if you go up and you're like, the vote is get rid of Obamacare, thumbs up. That's all you had to do. That's all John McCain did right there. And you didn't even have to do a double. I'm giving you a double thumbs up. You had to do one. Little thumbs up. That's it. Thumbs up. It's over. 8 prior times he did it. But when we finally had the numbers to do it, he didn't. So is it just, speaking of James Comey and shell games, is that all that it is a giant shell game? So people keep voting in John McCain over and over again as a conservative so that he occupies a seat so a legitimate conservative can't ever get in there and actually vote for conservative principles. But here's the moment that John McCain voted, now because allegedly the shutdown's all about the ACA, Obamacare. Allegedly, that's what it's all about. Now they've lumped SNAP onto it also, and now a district judge has ordered Trump temporarily till it goes to the SCOTUS order Donald Trump to continue to pay through these various slush funds for SNAP benefits. But again, I digress. So here's the moment that John McCain betrayed us as Americans. Play it for me.
1:29 a.m. Senator McCain re-enters the chamber. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stands at the front of the room like he had most of the night. The grin on his face, though, quickly disappears.
Mr. Peters.
Senator Bernie Sanders appears to nudge Senator Jeanne Shaheen as if to say, watch this. McCain waves his hand to get the attention of the Senate clerk, pauses for just a moment, and gives a dramatic thumbs down. An audible gasp on the Senate floor, and then commotion. Some Democrats can't contain their excitement. Senator Elizabeth Warren leans in to get a better look and breaks into applause. Senator Dianne Feinstein, a single assertive clap. Senator Sherrod Brown slams his hand on the desk in affirmation, while some Republicans, like Senator Marco Rubio, stare in disbelief. Senator Bill Cassidy drops his head. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer turns and waves his arms, apparently trying to quiet them, as Senator John McCain turns around and walks back to his chamber desk all alone.
Mr. Reid.
Repulsive, disgusting, lying sack of feces. That's who John McCain was. And speaking of those type of people, let's go to the next one. Here's Tricky Dickie Cheney from at Chicago One Ray. Right after Dick Cheney posted this ad, Wyoming went on to hand Liz Cheney the worst defeat in the history of the body politic. Play for me.
246-year history. There has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. Lynn and I are so proud of Liz for standing up for the truth, doing what's right, honoring her oath to the Constitution, when so many in our party are too scared to do so. Liz is fearless. She never backs down from a fight. There is nothing more important she will ever do than lead the effort to make sure Donald Trump is never again near the Oval Office. And she will succeed. I am Dick Cheney. I proudly voted for my daughter. I hope you will too.
Hysterical, isn't it? It's Halliburton Dick, who goes from, on the board of Halliburton to the vice presidency, funding the wars that benefit him financially. That's who he is. And that's weapons of mass destruction, Dick, too. Remember, he just said, a real man, he's a coward. Real man wouldn't lie to his constituency, wouldn't lie to his supporters. That's the man who advocated for weapons of mass destruction. That cost us 5,000 American lives and trillions of dollars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh, Aaron, how are we doing? How are our settlements in Afghanistan and Iraq right now? How are they? Aaron and Joe,
Yeah.
how's our economic investment? I'm sure we're getting a lot of oil out of those countries, right?
Zero.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We got 5,000 dead people. We have that killed, and not to mention the millions that we killed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it was made Benjamin Netanyahu very happy, even though the IDF was never actually there doing it. But we were there doing it and spending all of our money while Israel got richer. But anyway, I digress.
Right.
Speaking of Israel, look at this video. Mr. Red Pill's video. Follow him on Twitter. Foreign Google search for key address made days before Charlie Kirk's death. Very strange coincidence. Coinky-dinky going on here. Play it for me.
3 days before the shooting, someone in Israel searched W925S Street. That is a very specific search. And do you know what W925S Street is? It is where the gun was found.
Oh, shit.
Like, literally.
This might be the house, or maybe it was this one, where he walked by. Remember when Tyler Robinson was walking by and he was limping?
Tiny stretch of road from about here to about here, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 houses. And the gun was found right here. 3 days before the shooting, someone halfway around the world is searching for an address in this little town in Utah. I mean, it's not a little town, it's attached to Salt Lake City. But bitch, please, come on.
That is very specific.
And then, on July 11th, in the District of Columbia, someone searched 683 W925S Street. That's a pretty specific location. 683 is this house. That's the chicken coop right there.
Was that the Ring Camera house? Let's see. One sec. Remember when he was limping, chat?
Walking in the street, continuing to walk the street there, very close to where the venue was.
Now, I have some very good news for everybody. Source Alex Jones. From Alex Jones's sources, Kash Patel went in and screamed at Tulsi Gabbard and said, we are not going to be conducting any investigation into any foreign entity that could possibly be connected with the Charlie Kirk shooting. So that's completely off the table. Their sole focus is Tyler Robinson. That's it. So that's their sole focus. Now, strangely, Aaron's going to love this. Yeah. Strangely, 3 days prior, and if I get the address wrong, just understand what my motives are with this, because I don't know if I wrote it down correctly. 3 days before the shooting, somebody in Israel searched the address of 683 W925 S Street, which is exactly where the firearm was left by Tyler Robinson, the one that he took apart, the firearm that takes 5 minutes to take apart, that he took apart in 2 seconds, and shot Charlie Kirk and then reassembled it in 2 seconds, and ran off the roof and then put it in, he took it apart. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I digress. First of all, he took it apart somehow. Hit a barrel that's about that long somewhere, crawled up the roof, shoots Charlie Kirk with a 30-06 that would blow his head off, which somehow it didn't do that. Shoots him with this 30-06 that he reassembled. Now, we're not allowed to see the video of him reassembling the rifle. We're not allowed to see the video of him actually shooting the round, but we're allowed to see grainy footage of him running off the roof. Now, remember that the footage of him running off the roof is like 3 to 10 seconds after the shooting. Now, at that point, he had allegedly then unassembled the gun, taken the gun apart. That would take 5 minutes. He would have to at least 5 minutes. For a gun expert, 5 minutes. For someone like me, an hour. So, and he was certainly not a gun expert at all. So again, but minimum of 5 minutes. He does it. Suddenly he becomes SEAL Team 6 and takes it apart in 2 seconds. And disassembles it, jams in his backpack, again, barrel this long, somehow gets hidden on his person, runs off of the roof, reassembles it, and then dumps it at W925 S Street. Now, somebody in Israel, 3 days before the shooting, searched that address. Exactly where the gun was dropped. And 2 months prior to that, it was searched in D.C. too. Can you explain that to me? I mean, and now Kash Patel has said, we are not going to look into any of this. He's not even looking for the I'm trying to remember their names, something queer in Salt Lake City, the armed queers of Salt Lake City, something like that. He won't certainly, that's who Tyler Robinson was hooked up with, literally and figuratively. So he won't, but we're not allowed to look into any of this at all. That's kind of weird. Would everybody agree? And Tom, are you saying that Israel did it? No. I'm just saying, shouldn't we be following every lead instead of saying we're not going to follow certain leads? Again, if I did that as a cop, I'm fired. I'm fired and criminally prosecuted. If I go, you know what? My own self-interest are going to go ahead, Aaron. And this is what Aaron loves to do. Okay, this is what Aaron loves to do. You gotta let the dog off the chain. Sometimes you have to let the dog off the chain. So Kash Patel, strangely, with a woman who's 1 billion times out of his league, a different species of woman than him, strangely has become this neutered gelding wandering through the pastures when we're supposed to have a museum to the deep state already.
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember we were supposed to have all that? But anyway, that just hasn't happened. And now screaming at Tulsi Gabbard because as the director of national intelligence simply wants to conduct a rudimentary investigation of Israel or any other foreign entity's involvement in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. But he won't allow that to happen. And it all kinds of strangely happen when he gets a hold of this girlfriend and he uses the FBI private jet to go and fly all over the globe, making sure that he sees her open up for a wrestling event singing. Strange. I mean, it's not like he's been bought off or anything. I mean, I have more on him about some of his very interesting financial investments that have really come to fruition to his benefit lately. Weird, isn't it? All right, 10:18, that's good. Rumble Rants. Hefner, $20. Thank you so much. Jules, 21 hours, my friend from church. $10. Thank you so much. Richard Perry, 49, $5. Thank you so much. Total G Word, $5. Thank you guys so much in the rant. Thank you guys so much in the chat. Stick around for the post game. You'll love it. It's awesome. Back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. Love you guys. God bless you.
You spend your whole life
trying to medicate yourself in one way or another. Whether it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be things, it could be jobs, it could be accomplishments, it could be boats, it could be RVs, it could be houses, it could be women, it could be men, it could be relationships, whatever it is. But instead, why don't you go to the real answer? Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Why don't you do it?
Have you ever had a question you were too afraid to ask? Or a thought you knew everyone was thinking but no one dared to say out loud? Welcome to the Hope Hotline, where nothing's off limits and we say what others won't. Real talk, raw truth, your questions finally answered.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
I did not want to wake to the debate because my big message is it's governing, not campaigning, that counts. And the keys gauge the strength and performance of the White House party, independent of the events of the campaign. And I wanted to prove that once again in my prediction.
Who is it and why?
It's going to be a path-breaking victory, the first woman president, Kamala Harris. And here's why. Under my 13 key system, which, as you said, has been right for 40 years, it takes 6 of the 13 keys to turn against the White House party to predict their defeat. At a maximum, the White House party this time loses 5 keys, 1 key short of the 6 needed to predict their defeat. And that's why, based on a system that's worked for 40 years and has nothing to do with my own political preferences. After all, I picked Trump, predicted Trump in 2016. I'm now predicting a path-breaking Harris victory.
Wiener's laptop had kill switches in it. It was filled with crap that wasn't supposed to be there. We never get to see it. Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Wiener's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops. You know, it's like the 5 cops who died after January 6th, right? The 4 of them were suicides. According to AI, there were about 80 cops really in the thick of things. 4 of them died from suicide.
Here, let's watch this because it's so funny.
From the minute I was assigned female, I was told, okay, these are the kind of clothing that you're gonna wear.
What do you mean by assigned female? Who assigns?
Yeah, so most times people, when they're born, they're assigned a gender
By the
doctors. Yeah.
What do they base that assignment on?
So basically, it's based on genitalia, people looking at genitalia and deciding, okay, this is a girl or a boy. And we know now sex and gender are so much more than just this binary. Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
How do I know if I'm a woman?
That's a great question.
I like scented candles, and
yeah,
I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah. Matt, that question right there, when it's asked with a lot of curiosity, right, that's the beginning of a lot of people's, like, gender identity development journeys.
What is a woman?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
I'm about to go undercover as a Zohran Mamdani canvasser to see what people actually think of his positions, past statements, and whether they'll still vote for him when they learn the truth. Let's go. What up, my comrades? You guys voting for Zoe?
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Hi, I'm with the Zohran campaign.
Yeah, I voted for him.
Oh, awesome. Can I get your pledge to vote for him, the general?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what does he stand for?
I can tell you a little bit about it. Let's see. Are you cool to increase taxes on whiter neighborhoods? So basically, like, taxing white people higher?
No, white people, rich people.
No. He says specifically whiter neighborhoods.
I just don't think that this is exactly his policies.
Wait, so you voted for him in the primary, but you didn't know about that? So he doesn't hate white people.
See if he does or he doesn't. Come like that's his
Whatever. No. Oh, you don't want to do it anymore?
I don't think you know how to read his website.
Oh, it specifically says to tax whiter neighborhoods, defund the police.
Okay.
You're fine, like no more police. You cool with that?
I'm chill.
Okay, cool. All right.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, I like the police.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't defund you. One of his policies is to create safe spaces for people to do crack in public. Are you cool with that, or?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's gonna do that.
What that means? Is that supposed to be a benefit?
Well, do you do crack? Globalize the Intifada. You're cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. It basically means to like attack Jews worldwide, but like.
No.
Is that really what it does?
Like, he won't condemn it.
Wow.
Sorry, are you for?
I'm for him. You sure you don't want a free kafia?
No, I'm good.
Hey, you're cool with replacing police officers in domestic violence cases with social workers? Like a therapist would kind of come, like talk about it instead of like do anything?
Nah, not really.
Are you a hot boy for Zohran?
You're a hot boy.
Are you cool with taxing companies so high that they're forced to leave the city and take hundreds of thousands of jobs with them? Okay.
That part, no.
Hey, have a nice day. Do you agree to abolish all private property?
Well, no.
Oh, and he wants to empty the jails of most criminals?
Violence is an artificial construction.
I'm in. Do it. You can take back your signature. What do you think about it as an experience?
I think that's an asset.
Yeah.
In some way.
Okay, it's been 3 years. Shouldn't all of us unvaccinated be dead by now? If the vaccine was so great, why is it so easy to find people who regret taking it, but not a single person who regrets not taking it? The same people that forced you to get vaccinated to keep your job then let in 10 million people who were unvaccinated and unemployed. Remember when we had to put our mask on in between sips of our drink? If you were okay with that, you're deranged. Before we go in, put your mask on. I thought these don't do anything. Yeah, they don't, but that's not the point. The point is to show that we're good people who care. Remember during COVID when they painted circles on the grass in the park? And if you left your little circle, someone's grandma would die? Science. Remember when we weren't allowed to eat inside unless we made a new inside and put it outside? Whenever you're feeling dumb, just remember there are people who stayed in their homes for a year because the TV told them to. Remember in 2020 when a certain group was allowed to burn cities while everyone else wasn't allowed to go outside? That was weird. Guys, I know I make fun of COVID a lot, but I'm actually grateful in a way because COVID made me realize who the true psychopaths are in this country.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin. And your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing. But just don't take it from me. Listen to the voices of unvaccinated Americans who are lying in hospital beds, taking their final breath saying, if only I'd gotten vaccinated. If only. It's a tragedy. Please don't let it become yours.
You've just won a brand new Peterbilt tractor trailer and your own commercial driver's license. That's right. A shiny red rig with chrome to spare, plus the training and CDL to drive it anywhere in the country. Here it comes. Look at that beauty roll. Me.